Hi everybody, it's Wednesday afternoon and I'm going to read chapter 11 of Old Granny Fox. So, hello Jackson in Bangor, Matthew in Jackman, Maine, Marjorie in Palermo, Maine, near Liberty, Emma, Emma in Oakland, I believe, Malia in Missouri, Lucas in Maine, Kai Ming and Ru Kai in Seattle, Washington, Hope here in Maine, Leslie and Mary over in England, of all places, Dylan in Maine, and Lucas in Missouri. So, hi everybody. I hope I didn't miss anyone. So, this is chapter 11 coming up, After the Storm. And there's a saying here before the chapter starts from Old Granny Fox: the joys and the sunshine that make us glad, the worries and troubles that make us sad, must come to an end. So why complain of too little sun or too much rain? From Old Granny Fox. That's a good thought for all of us to remember, huh? Okay, chapter 11. The thing to do is make the most of the sunshine while it lasts, and when it rains, to look forward to the coming of the sun again, knowing that come it surely will. A dreadful storm was keeping the little people of the green forest, the green meadows, and the old orchard prisoners in their own houses, or in their own homes, or in such places of shelter as they had been able to find. So a big storm, huh? But it couldn't last forever, and they knew it. Knowing this was all that kept some of them alive. You see, they were starving. Yes, sir, they were starving. You and I would be very hungry indeed, if we had to go without food for 2 whole days. But if we were snug and warm, it wouldn't do us any real harm. With the little wild friends, especially the little feathered folks, it's a very different matter. You see, they are naturally so active they have to fill their stomachs very often in order to supply their little bodies with heat and energy. So when their food supply is wholly cut off, they starve or else freeze to death in a very short time. A great many little lives are ended this way in every long, hard winter storm. It was late in the afternoon of the second day when rough Brother North Wind decided he had shown his strength and fierceness long enough, and rumbling and grumbling retired from the green meadows and the green forest, blowing the snow clouds away with him. For just a little while before it was time for him to go to bed behind the purple hills, jolly round red Mr. Sun smiled down on the white land, and never was his smile more welcome. Out from their shelters hurried all the little prisoners, for they must make the most of the short time before the coming of the cold night. Little Tommy Tit the chickadee was so weak he could hardly fly, and he shook with chills. He made straight for the apple tree, where Farmer Brown's boy always keeps a piece of suet tied to a branch for Tommy and his friends. Drummer the woodpecker was there before him. Now it is one of the laws of politeness among the feathered folk that when one is eating from a piece of suet, a newcomer shall await his turn. Dee, 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 said Tommy Tit faintly but cheerfully, for he couldn't be other than cheery if he tried. Dee, 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 that looks good to me. It is good, mumbled Drummer, pecking away at the suet greedily. Come on, Tommy Tit, don't wait for me, for I won't be through for a long time. I'm nearly starved, and I guess you must be. I am, confessed Tommy, as he flew over beside Drummer. Thank you ever so much for not making me wait. Don't mention it, Drummer. Don't mention it, replied Drummer, with his mouth full. This is no time for politeness. Here comes Yank Yank the nuthatch. I guess there's room for him, too. Yank Yank was promptly invited to join them, and did so after apologizing for seeming so greedy. If I couldn't get my stomach full before night, I certainly should freeze to death before morning, said he. What a blessing it is to have all this good food waiting for us. If I had to hunt for my usual food on the trees, I certainly should have to give up and die. It took all my strength to get over here. My, I feel like a new bird already. Here comes Sammy Jay. I wonder if he'll try to drive us away as he usually does. Sammy did nothing of the kind. He was very meek and most polite. Can you make room for a starving fellow to get a bite? He asked. I wouldn't ask it, but that I couldn't last another night without food. Dee, 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 always room for one more, replied Tommy Tit, crowding over to give Sammy room. Wasn't that a dreadful storm? Worst I ever knew, mumbled Sammy. I wonder if I ever will be warm again. Until their stomachs were full, not another word was said. Meanwhile, Chatterer the Red Squirrel had discovered that the storm was over. As he floundered through the snow to another apple tree, he saw Tommy Tit and his friends, and in his heart he rejoiced that they had found food waiting for them. His own troubles were at an end, for in the tree he was headed for was a store of corn. He probably put it there, huh? Oh, my goodness, everyone, that's the end of that chapter. Now, in the beginning of the next chapter, I'll just show you a picture. And that looks like Peter Rabbit and Mrs. Peter Rabbit. Now, who was that? Doesn't look like Reddy Fox, but it might be. Huh. We'll see when we read chapter 12, okay? Okay, bye-bye, everybody. See you next time.